an important chapter because this will help you to be able to calculate in space and on surfaces and areas. And if we are going to look at trigonometry, then important to understand. I see tri, which means 3, and metry is coming from metric system measures. Why do I have 3 or tri? Because we're always dealing in a right angle triangle. So always an angle with this right angle in it. And in every angle which is not the right angle, I have an opposite angle and I have an adjacent angle. So this is the opposite and this is the adjacent. It's touching my angle. And over here, if I take this angle, then my opposite angle is over here. My adjacent is touching it. So this is my adjacent angle. And it's always the angles which is touching my right angle. So now let's take a look, because we are dealing in this paragraph about the tangent. And the tangent, as you have seen in my PowerPoint explanation, is something to deal with the rise divided by the run. Let's compare this with something we already did before. Well, we had a linear formula with the form ax plus b. Then I knew and I learned that my a is my gradient. And I just explained you this because I want you to understand that it's almost all the time the same thing. Because take a look to this triangle. I could draw a triangle like that over here as well. And my a was the difference or the change in y divided by the change in x. And y, this part, because I have to get my x, and my y-axis is like the rise. And my run is this part. So it's about to run. So you see that if I want to have an angle here, I want to know how many degrees this is, then I can express this in a tangent. That's why we use tangent. So let's just take a look. I do have a triangle over here with a right angle in it. I need this, otherwise I can't tell you. And this is my angle I'm going to work on. And I say, what's the tangent of angle B? Well, it's the opposite, because the opposite of my rise, let's say this is 6, let's say this is 10. So it's the opposite divided by my adjacent, or if you like, I can say it's my rise to my run, and in this case it is 6 divided by 10 is 1.6. Okay, but am I able, knowing this number, because very important to know, the tangent, the only thing you calculate with tangent is a ratio. A ratio, see it like a fraction, because this in fact is a fraction as well. So it's only a number, it's nothing else. Nothing to do with degrees, nothing to do something else. The only thing what you do when you calculate the tangent is a ratio or a number. So you can understand that this ratio is all the same. So let's draw some triangles with the same ratio. This angle is the same in this 6 by 10, and it's the same in a little triangle. But this is 5, and this is 3. Because you see, this is times 2, and this is times 2 as well. And I hope you understand that this angle is exactly the same as this one. It must be, because the ratio over here is 6 over 10, and the ratio here is 3 over 5. And I know that 6 over 10 is the same as 3 over 5. So I could say, if I make a triangle with an opposite side of 9, then the other one has to be 15. So let's draw it. This triangle, this is 9, this side, this adjacent side is 15. It's still the same angle. I can draw it in the other way. Let's say I do 150 divide by 90. You see, it's always exactly the same ratio. So never forget, not more complicated than it looks. It's just a ratio. And because this ratio is always the same, you can imagine that there exist big tables where you can watch, because in the ancient time we didn't have calculators. We had big tables, a book with all kinds of tables, and you could find out when the ratio of a tangent is 3 over 5, you can find the angle, the size of the angle, how many degrees. But nowadays we do have our calculator. So our calculator, we call it GR. And if I say the tangent of an angle, so let's say some degrees, is 3 over 5. Well, I can calculate the size of the angle by say the inverse. I do the inverse, I do the opposite. Tan is minus 1 of 3 over 5 is, just look at your calculator. So you go to the 3 divided by 5, and you see that the angle is 30.96 degrees, or 31 degrees. So if I should calculate the tangent of 31 degrees, try it on your calculator, you will see that you'll get about 0.6 or approximately 0.6. Well, let's say I have another triangle, this one, and I take this angle to check, and over here it's 4 and over here it's 5. Well, then the tangent inverse of 4 over 5, and let's draw it with the decimal point, 0.8 equals 38.66 degrees. And this needs to be little waves because it's approximately, it's not exactly. Etc. So that's why we use these little waves. Don't forget. Okay, until here. Now try to make your assignments 25 till 30. Good luck.